Hi guys, I just got back from a week vacation. I went to the Canary Islands with my big family, my sisters, my brother, and all our kids and our parents. So there were 18 of us, and we went to this like fitness resort. There was activities for everyone, and we worked out a lot. It was great fun. And I decided to like during this week take notes of my fragrance rotation. The weather's a little different. When we got there, it was 27 degrees Celsius. In the daytime, it was quite hot in the sun. At night, we could just sit out with short sleeves. It was really nice. And then it kind of cooled off during the week, and it was like 24, I think, the last few days, which is also really warm compared to Sweden. And so I do change my fragrances a little bit. And there's an overlap for sure, fragrances that work in every kind of weather. But I just thought I'd share with you what I wore. On the way down on the airplane, I decided to wear Flavor of Love from Savour. This is created by a Swedish perfumer called Linda Landenberg. And this is, the concentration is EDT intense. And it's not very expensive, this one. It's like, how much did I pay for this? Like 80 euro. And 20 euro out of every sold bottle goes to like the Rainbow Fund, I think it's called, that support, like they work for gay rights all over the world. And I think that's a really good cause. So that kind of helped me push me into buying a bottle. But it's also a really beautiful fragrance. Maybe not the most unique fragrance that I've ever smelled in this category. I have a lot of iris fragrances, but it's an iris violet, a little bit musky fragrance that also has coriander. And coriander, I think, gives it like an interesting little. Coriander can sometimes be a little bit challenging, but it has also some really nice, it has a little bit of a floral touch, I think, this coriander. It's ground coriander I'm talking about, not the herb, not cilantro, but like powdered coriander. And I definitely think I can get that from this. And I think this is a kind of a light fragrance. So it makes sense to wear it like if you're going to sit on a crowded airplane. And I knew also I was going to try some tax-free stuff, and I thought I'd just wear something that wasn't too heavy. So that was, and then when we got there, that was like midday, I wore piano. So I brought all of these. It's like there are 30 something fragrances in here. My little cousin actually counted them all. And there's samples and travel size and minis and decants, but no full bottles. I just think I might as well use my decants when I'm traveling. Why not? But I did miss a few fragrances, and I didn't use all of these either. But I thought it just would be interesting to share with other nerds what I wore. So I put on Piano Santal when I got there, and then I realized it was just a little bit too heavy. So I made a decant out of this. Cedro de Diamante from Perris, Monte Carlo is a really beautiful lemon fragrance. And it's kind of all about that beautiful lemon. The only problem with this fragrance is that it only lasts like for 30 minutes. But if you add it on to something else, it just kind of gives it a lift. So I use this a lot for layering. And I have this little decant that I keep refilling. I keep it in my bag if it's hot. This is something that I typically want to wear. And I think everyone should have some of these like light layering perfumes in their collection. So if you don't have one, I really recommend this one. But the performance is really bad. But so are like all lemon fragrances to me. So far, I have not yet tried a lemon fragrance that really stays. If you know of one, please put in the comments below so I can find out about that. Okay, what happened next? Let's see. I have to go back to my notes here that I have in my phone. Oh yeah, at night I wore Mandarine by Serge Lutens. I only have a little tiny bit left now. I'm basically through that. It was one of my favorite fragrances like last summer and the summer before that. And now I just kind of realized that I don't like it so much anymore, which is kind of strange. Because I'm picking up on the more spicy parts of this fragrance, and I'm getting something really bitter, like bitter as in when you have an Aperol Spritz, that orange drink, or like a Campari, that bitterness, it has kind of that, like some kind of citrus kind of rind or peel or zest, or what do you call it? Zest, I think it's called. That can go a little bit bitter. And I find that this fragrance is not like a freshie that I used to think it was. I used to think that it was pretty close to this one, Orangea from Profumum Roma. This one I wish I had brought, but I didn't. Because this is a really beautiful green, orangey, minty fragrance that's only like really, really fresh. The opening is a little challenging, but boy, is it good after like 15 minutes. But this Mandarin, I would have gone full bottle a long time ago had it not been that they only sell them in these bell jars. You know, they don't have a spray. They have this little dabber. You have to like take off the top, and it's kind of that old-fashioned kind of bottle. And I don't really like that so much. So now I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because there's something about this fragrance that kind of was disturbing to me. I mean, it might come back. My taste for this might come back. I used to love it, and I know I've recommended it before on this channel, but right now it did not do so well. And then I've also made a decant of a bottle that I own that was a perfect fragrance for the warmer weather, and it's called Musc Palawan from Lorga Perfumes. And when I had sprayed this on, my daughter said, oh my God, what is that? What is that smell? Like, it smells so good. And I could feel it myself too. I felt like I smelled like $1,000,000. It's such a tropical, beautiful fragrance that has some like fruity, like exotic fruits. I don't think they've listed exotic fruits. Here it says musks, ylang ylang, and vanilla, but there's a lot more going on in here. And it has kind of like a marine quality a little bit, and a little hint of coconut. It's an amazing fragrance. And I know that the amber fragrance from this house is also really good. Wonderful in the heat. I'm just really longing for warmer weather so I can wear more of it. It's beautiful, beautiful fragrance. I do wear it sometimes here at home in the winter. Anyway, then we worked out, I took a shower, and then I sprayed on my newest purchase, which is Carnal Flower from Frederic Malle. It comes in this little 10 milliliter, but it's an original bottle. The only thing that bothers me is you don't get a real cap, so it's just kind of a sprayer at the top there. But this fragrance, I have started to love tuberose again. Trying that Rouge Malachite, and I kind of ruined it for me for at least like a year and a half, and I couldn't wear it, and especially not like creamy tuberoses. But this particular fragrance is like a green, kind of herbal, tropical tuberose fragrance that also has like a hint of coconut, and it also has a note of eucalyptus. This was created by Dominique Ropion, the same perfumer that's made my signature scent Safari from Ralph Lauren, and I just think I was ready for it. I got it. This little tiny 10 milliliter was like $65, but I'm glad they have these small bottles, because I'm not going to go through this very quickly. I'll only wear this like in the warmer weather, maybe sometimes here at home. If I want something refreshing and something really floral and tropical, I'll put it on, but this is not something that I would typically like wear every day. But beautiful fragrance. And then I had Soul of My Soul from Eldo, or from Etat Libre d'Orange. And I'll have to say, let's see where it is in here. Here it is. I was disappointed. It's kind of like gone by the time I sprayed it. It's just kind of weak. The performance is not that great, but it's fresh. I have to wear it again to be able to give you like a full, I only wore it once and then I didn't kind of go back to it. I was just kind of disappointed in it. I only have like a little vial like that. Then after that, at night, I wore Ambra Calabria. Someone was requesting a review of it, and here it comes. Very, very big disappointment. The fragrance itself is really, really beautiful. I have a decant of it, and it's somewhere in here. Here it is. And I've been through all of that, and I've worn it like 3 or 4 times. So that gives you an idea about how much you need to put on. And that, not even that was enough. It was kind of like I had to go to my arm and kind of like hunt for the fragrance. It's so light, which makes it, of course, good for flying. For example, if you're going to be in a crowded little space with lots of people. I'm just kind of refreshing my memory here. It's a beautiful fragrance. There's a powderiness to it. It's not your standard amber. It's much lighter to wear. Super beautiful. It has green nuances. I think that's what makes this particular amber special, that it's a green amber. I really like it. I like the powderiness. I like the lightness, but the performance it sucks. I would never, ever pay this kind of prices for a fragrance with this kind of performance. It has like basically no performance at all. No projection. The longevity, I mean, I get a few hours for sure, but it's so weak that I have to kind of like hunt around. And to me, that's just not worth it. It doesn't matter how good it is. I don't know. I don't know if this one has like if I'm a little bit anosmic to it, maybe. But I've also seen a lot of people on Fragrantica felt the same way about it. So I don't think this one is just me. So because if it has like ISO E Super, then sometimes I can't smell it that well. So I was thinking maybe that explains some of it, but I don't know. At least it's not going to be a purchase for me, that's for sure. Okay, and then I wore. Oh, I forgot to put that in here now. Battito Dali from Profumum Roma, and that did really, really well in the heat. Um, that's an interesting fragrance. I go back and forth about that fragrance. It has like, it's an orange flower fragrance, but it has like coconut, cacao. What else is in there that makes it like, it's just so unusual, this fragrance. I think those notes together are like really strange. It's kind of fresh, but it also has this like cocoa kind of note. Yeah, so I've been a little bit on the fence about this if I should keep it or not, but it was really nice there, and I love the performance of Profumum Roma's fragrances. So it is one of my favorite houses for that reason. And then later on, we had worked out again, and I put on Chameleon from Zoologist. I have just a little decant. And then I wore that all night as well because I just loved wearing it. It's very tropical, not quite as sweet and marine as this, but it has like exotic fruits. It has a little hint of coconut. It's a little floral, but it's not like, it's kind of dry at the same time. Super interesting fragrance. I mean, it's very much Zoologist. It reminds me a little bit of my koala that I also have, except koala's a little bit more foresty and not as tropical. But there's something, they share a DNA for sure. So that was, let's see, that was Wednesday. Have I skipped a day? No, I haven't. Thursday, then I started off with Chameleon again in the morning. And then after a shower, I put on Io from Hilde Soliani, which is like a tuberose and iris fragrance. And it smells almost a little bit like candy, but in a very kind of sophisticated way. I love that one. I'm almost out of my decant. And then I did top that off with more of the lemon because I wanted it to be even more summery. And this is just a great layering fragrance. I love to add this on to like florals and vanillas and things that might get a little bit too sweet maybe. Beautiful. And then after lunch, I went over to Infusion de Fleur d'Oranger from Prada. I just have this little mini, and it's a sister fragrance to Infusion d'Iris, and it's super fresh and super beautiful. The lasting power is not great. I've been through half of this. I can like take this out and I can look at there's a glass bottle in here. But it's just really nice. If I know that I only want a fragrance like while I'm maybe going to be working out or something, and I know I'm going to be changing the fragrance like within like an hour, then I can put this on because it's not going to last that much longer anyway, and it's not that projecting either. But I do love it. And if I didn't have other kind of light fragrances, I could consider a bottle of this. I just don't think I would go out and buy it now since I have others that I can and I still have some of this, so I don't need it right now. Quite pricey, these. I mean, like 50 milliliters at the tax-free was like $100. That's a lot for a fragrance of this. Like, it's not very strong. Is this an EDT? No, it's an EDP. But I'll say that it acts like an EDT. It's not very potent at all. I wish there was a little bit more to it. But I find that a lot of like Fleur d'Oranger, like orange flower, dominant fragrances are often like kind of light like this. It's the same with the one from Le Labo. It's the same with the one from Serge Lutens. You have to kind of go to these really creamy, heavy ones like to get more performance. And then I'm talking about like Love Don't Be Shy from, what's it called? By Kilian, or Sintra from Memo, or Oriana from Parfums de Marly. But then you have all that creaminess as well. But if you want the kind of watery, transparent kind of Fleur d'Oranger, orange flower, then the performance is going to be a little worse. This is my opinion. I don't know. There might be better ones out there that are more like of a pure orange flower that do last. If you know of one, please let me know. I would like to know. And then I put on some later on when that wore off. I put on Green Water from Jacques Fat. I think this one was created by what's her name? Cécile Sorokian. She also made Belle Ambre from the same brand, and I'm kind of exploring these samples. I got a whole row of samples from them, and Bel Ambre is really beautiful. That is also like a light powdery amber that lasts, and the price point is great. So if you're looking for a good amber, yeah, I wore that later. I wore that Saturday. Then I really recommend that one. It's also by Cecile Sorokian. She's a great perfumer, and the price point of these fragrances is just amazing. I'll put these names of the fragrances down below so you can look. Jacques Fat is the name of the house, and it used to be, I think, like a designer house. Like he was a designer, and then now they only have fragrances, I think, or something like that. So they're niche now. Okay, what else did I wear at night for dinner? I wore Rosendo Mateu number 6, which I really like. I think it's like tonka, little hint of coconut there too. There's a lot of coconut this week. And then Friday morning, I went back to Chameleon again from Zoologist, and I think that gives you an idea about how much I like it. And then for the rest of the day, for working out, for lunch, after the shower, and going swimming, and for dinner, I wore throughout the day Vixir from Electimus. I have a bottle, but I made myself a small decant that I went through completely during the week. That's a great floral fragrance that it's just an amazing fragrance that like anybody would like. And I think it did fantastic in the heat. And I just kept on wearing it because I was just like, why change something that's perfect? It was just perfect. I love that one. Saturday, I wore Bel Ambre from Jacques Fat all day. At least, or I might have forgotten to write down what I wore. Maybe I changed my fragrance sometime during the day. I probably did. But that was the one I wrote down. Sunday, I wore Carnal Flower again from Frederic Malle. And also de l'eau de l'impératrice Sissi from Nicolai de Berry, which is a great violet, kind of candied violet fragrance. That one you must try. That is really, really good. They only sell them in 100 ml bottles. Otherwise, I would have probably have got a bottle by now. And then at night, I wore Caban by YSL. That is like a tonka, sandalwood, kind of night, mysterious, kind of sensual fragrance. Love that too. I really would like a bottle. I have Caftan. I wish I had bought Caban instead because I like it much more. That Caftan is kind of an incense-based fragrance, and I so much prefer like the tonka in what's it called, Caban. I think it's a more wearable fragrance, and it's just a little bit more subdued, I think, than Caftan. And then on the way home, I wanted to wear something that wouldn't choke people out on the airplane, so I wore Ambra Calabria from Nishane, which is beautiful, like I said, but the performance is really bad and the projection is like 0. So I knew I wouldn't offend anybody. And then I knew I'd be trying things on the tax-free, and I'll just mention to you what I tried on and what I thought about them. I tried one called 001 Woman from a Spanish brand called Loe, like it's spelled Loewe. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce this name. And I know they make like really expensive handbags. They have them at our local, like, luxury department store. And these were like $100. So I decided to like not buy a bottle. I looked online. I could find them for about that price online. So tax-free is just not that cheap anymore. At least not, I don't know where you're listening from in the world, but like I'm talking about like flying around Europe. I found even when I was out last summer, I couldn't really find any good deals. But this was a great like floral sandalwood fragrance with really good performance. I just had one squirt on my hand, and I kept going back to my hand and smelling it, and it lasted the whole trip home, which was like 5-6 hours. So that was a great fragrance. So if you're looking for a sandalwood fragrance, but you don't want to go in the direction of something really creamy or something as leathery as Santal 33. You want something a little more feminine. This is really, really nice. It's called Woman, 001 Woman. It comes in an EDT and EDP concentration, and I recommend the EDP. That's the one at least I tried on. I thought the EDT kind of smelled too light, but I didn't put that on my skin, so I have not like tried it properly. And then I also tried the new Libre from YSL Le Parfum concentration. It's not a new fragrance, but that concentration is new. So the fragrance is new. And it's kind of an oriental saffron fragrance, and it has it has all kinds of florals. It's really, really nice. It lasted all the trip home. I had it in my inner elbow, and I kept going back and smelling it, but I realized that, you know, for like $100, because it's like $100 for 50 ml, I would rather spend my money on a good niche fragrance. I find that much more interesting. And these Libre is like, it's so, so common. And I find the same about like their black opium. Like I smell black opium like every week. I smell it all over the place. As soon as I get on a bus or the subway, I smell someone that's wearing it. And I think it's really boring that everyone goes for the same fragrance. It's not a bad fragrance. It's not that. It's just that why should everyone pick the same one? There's like a hype about it. And it's just not an interesting fragrance in any way. So I managed to not to get through the tax-free without purchasing anything. So I feel really proud of myself. And I was really happy to get home and start wearing my now fall fragrances. Today, I'm wearing Lira from Casa Murati from Serge, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm going to go on a date tonight. I think it's a perfect date fragrance. I might put on a little more before I leave the house, or I'll add something else. Oh yeah, and I did bring out one more fragrance this one I wish I had brought a decant of. This one would have worked really well in the heat. I would have been really excited to try this in the summer. I mean, I did try it in the Swedish summer, but like to bring it abroad and just see how it's also like a sandalwood with coconut, black pepper. It's like, I think there's some violet in here. It's like a creamy sandalwood, like a beautiful kind of tropical leaning sandalwood fragrance. This one doesn't remind me at all of that Loe fragrance that I mentioned. That one is more of a sandalwood floral. This is much creamier and spicier. There's something that's really special about this fragrance. That fragrance that I mentioned from that woman, 001 woman from Loe, is more of a standard sandalwood. There's nothing standard about this. This is like really, really good stuff. Anyway, that was my rotation for the week. See you guys later.